Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to share your expertise. We know the pandemic has radically altered the way that municipalities have had to deliver services to their citizens. It has changed the expectations the citizens have for digital government services. At VMware, we've been hearing about these changes from our clients, so we decided to survey Canadians directly and find out what their experiences and expectations with digital government services were and are. We'll get to some of these results during our discussion, but the one I want to lead off with is that given the choice, 2/3 of Canadians would rather access government services online rather than inline. This new expectation from citizens has profound impacts on the products governments offer, how they design them, what the technology and processes used are, as well as what policies need to be in place to govern them. Are there specific stumbling blocks you have encountered trying to improve the citizen experience? Why don't I kick this off to Karthik?
So the challenges definitely are there. One of the biggest challenges is keeping up with technology and having legacy systems in place that constantly need to be updated. And as we look in the municipal sector, we find that it takes time. Due to resourcing or budget cycles or council initiatives. And therefore, what ends up happening is by the time you put in a new system, it's already outdated because of the pace of technology.
Is there any way for municipalities to be able to keep up with the constantly changing technology or governments in general?
Absolutely. I think this is where, we talk about partnerships with other organizations, working across the various levels of government, ensuring that there's resourcing, whether it be staffing to assist or the technical resources to help with that, or even the funding through grants or whatnot to allow us to quickly adapt to technology and look forward and put in technologies that allow us to be scalable when the time is needed.
Thank you so much. And Cielo, what about for the city of Mississauga? Are there specific stumbling blocks that you're encountering trying to improve the citizen experience?
We all know that government teams are structured as silos for a reason, which creates issues for citizens who need to interact with separate agencies and departments to accomplish something. Silos make it difficult to build services that are interconnected. Aligning operating models and teams is challenging as we need to rearrange strategic, technical, and operational capabilities in an integrated and very well sequenced way. In the case of Mississauga, we have two levels of government. We have both the municipality and the region, of which the interaction at the residence starts with municipality, but it has to flow through the region. So that alone provides a greater depth of access for the public.
Thank you so much. So then, as we just shifted a little bit, Gary, as the City of Toronto being a single-tier municipality, are the stumbling blocks the same or different?
Somewhat similar in the sense that we are siloed. We call ourselves the city or the enterprise, but we have 44 different levels of the enterprise interactions within the city. So we're really supposed to have one brand, one Toronto at your service. And the other challenge that we find is that in those 44 different entities, everyone feels as though they own the customer and own the customer experience. So one division would feel like they own the toes, someone owns the fingers, another person owns the nose, and it gets very fragmented, and it's not a holistic picture in any way, shape, or form. And what the city has to remember and be humble is the fact that we provide services. The group that owns actually the relationship with the public, it's council and the office of the mayor. We provide services, and we have to provide consistent end-to-end services. So one of the good things that, that I'm proud to say in terms of this division being created, that's one of the things to help address some of these siloed cultural nuances and really now looking at establishing standards and accountabilities and capabilities across the organization. So if we are looking to commit to services, it has to hit certain standards. And then on top of that, our division really focuses on the effectiveness of that delivery of service, not the ROI, but the overall effectiveness. And that's something, and especially in the public sector, has been ignored for many, many years.
Becky, I would love to hear your perspective from maybe a smaller township on some of your stumbling blocks.
Awesome. Thank you. And, all of, my panelists have talked on many of the stumbling blocks we face, limited resources, budget constraints, high expectations. But one of the biggest challenges we face as a smaller municipality is that we're compared to the larger municipalities. So City of Toronto does this. Why can't you do this? We want this. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges we face with delivering good customer service experience. We have a lot of people moving out our way, and we saw it really throughout the pandemic. And they came from somewhere like Toronto or Mississauga, where service delivery was a little different. They have more staff. They're able to offer different things that we're not quite able to do yet. So they're expecting that same. So we're trying to come up with creative ways to address that, but it's not apples to apples, and everybody wants to think it is apples to apples. It's not. We're much, much smaller, and we have to look at different ways to address some of those stumbling blocks.
So do you find yourself, Becky, then comparing yourself to other similar sized municipalities to make a business case?
Yes and no. I think we're starting to look outside the box and get a little more creative with respect to how we can find ways of delivering service and meeting some of those expectations. We're partnered with the region of Durham right now, delivering a CRM. So we're built within the region's CRM right now. And when it's fully built out and live, from a resident perspective, if they submit a service request that's a lower tier service request here in Scugog, to them, they won't really know whether it was Scugog's service request or the region that's dealing with it, because they'll be able to manage and track it all within one place.
Thank you for that perspective. Appreciate that. So that leads into, I guess, the next question of how much of a challenge are legacy systems to delivering a quality customer experience? Are there examples of when you've been able to successfully modernize customer-facing applications that have been residing in legacy systems? And I guess more importantly for the audience, is there advice for others facing this challenge? And Becky, I'll kick it to you to start.
Okay. Legacy systems are a huge challenge, and especially for a smaller municipality with very, very limited resources and budget. Many of our systems are outdated and, weren't kept up to date, and trying to, put processes in place to enhance the customer experience is very challenging. But as I said earlier, thinking outside the box and coming up with creative ways to try to meet the residents' expectations. So we know we can't do everything at once. So we're looking at our existing systems. What can we do to perhaps enhance them to deliver just a little bit of an experience enhancements to our citizens? Most recently, we were able to, one of the biggest things were with our building and planning applications. So we kind of piece marked that out, and we implemented a new software, got rid of our old software that hadn't been updated in 10 years. Staff hated it. Residents, it wasn't effective, efficient for them. And we started from scratch. And we've had nothing but positive experience. And we broke it down. We've done building. We just launched bylaw. And now we're moving on to planning. And, giving that little piece to our residents to see, hey, this is coming, is really positive. We're not able to deliver it all at once, but giving it little is a win for everyone.
Great. Thank you so much. Karthik, you had talked a bit about this in your previous response. What about the town of Newmarket?
So at the town of Newmarket, one of the things that we've done is we've looked at it from a realistic standpoint of how much we can achieve in a given time. With that being said, we're taking a novel approach of building an integration platform that standardizes our procurement of new technology based on a so-called town API that we can now connect any third party into, because we now have our connections to our old legacy systems, and we now give guidance to any new application that we bring in for our service delivery to work within our standards. And this has been really helpful. Many municipalities actually have integration platforms that they use either on their GIS side that they're not aware of. So we've taken advantage of those systems and built an integration platform and a data model that allows us to integrate with multiple systems. And this is, I think, as Becky stated, thinking out of the box and trying to find something that will help not only for the future, but work with the past.
That's great. Another interesting stat from our survey, and we've discussed this a little bit on the panel, is that only 50% of Canadians trust the government with their data. To what degree do you think citizen experience impacts that level of citizen trust? And what are other things that governments need to do to build trust with citizens around their digital offerings? I will kick this to Gary. We'd love to know about the City of Toronto in this instance.
Sure. What was interesting is we've undertaken an evolution in our CRM journey as well in digitizing services. So one of the biggest challenges we had before is we've digitized, we have about 600 service request types. And before there's about anywhere from 95 to 100 of them that was, available online. But the process was very convoluted. You couldn't attach pictures or anything to it. The milestone updates were very limited. So the experience wasn't something that people would like to continue and be repeating or trust in that process. So what we've done is we revamped the entire process. We've digitized all 600 services. We have moved from a multi-channel environment to an omni-channel environment. And we've really focused on, for example, the cost per transactions, because we're all in a situation where, the dollar matters. So the cost per transaction, when you look at it from a call perspective, we manage about 1.3 million calls on a yearly basis. And the managing of that call is anywhere from $11 to $16, depending on the complexity. It being, a general inquiry or something that derives a service request. Then when you digitize that service, we move from $11 to $16 to 10 cents to $1. So the investment on the CRM is a fantastic example of us doing some really, really good work, and a good example of why that's the outcomes that come along with that. In 2019, when we did the pilot, we won the City Manager Award for customer service, and we're now up as a finalist for the City Manager Award for the full implementation that happened in November. So crossing our fingers and wishing us luck, but I think we're in a good position.
And Sila, what about the City of Mississauga?
It's very clear that digital, as we have experienced in the last 2 years, is now the first point of interaction for government. A positive online experience and secure and user-friendly set of services are critical to enhancing overall trust. One of the top drivers for getting people to access government services online is the ease of use and confidence in the information they can get. Being transparent in the use of the residents' information is another way of gaining that confidence. The time of the pandemic was a great example of this. Access to accurate information and service became a matter of public trust. Trust included getting data on infection rates, access to vaccine information and services. So giving relevant information for people to know data about something is very important.
How are you increasing digital access and empowering frontline employees to deliver a great customer experience, perhaps again in the City of Mississauga?
We serve a diverse city, just like Toronto, and our employees are reflective of that, and they bring a value entrenched in serving and providing excellent customer service. For our Mississauga.ca channel, we have what we call the Voice of the Customer program. Through that program, we continuously collect customer experience information from the website. We identify trends and pain points. We actively design improvements. And last year, we implemented over 260 improvements to the Mississauga.ca site based on direct customer feedback.
And Becky, what about in the township? Are you finding that, or how are you empowering your frontline employees?
I think we're just listening to them. We're trying to, as I said earlier, as much as you really want to focus on the residents, it's so important that we're focusing on our staff too, who are the ones really delivering that frontline service. So we're engaging them every step of the way and getting their feedback and finding what new tools, resources they need to be successful in delivering that amazing frontline customer service that we're all striving to deliver. Nothing's off the table. Kind of my rule is don't be afraid to bring any idea forward. It may not be possible, but we'll definitely consider it and see if we can find a way to incorporate it.
So if we're asking people to provide ultimate customer service to the residents, our staff need to feel that they're respected and appreciated as well. And just the last point around technology, one of the things that we've been able to do, yes, training is important, but also just ease of use of the tools. So number of clicks per transaction, reduction of about 30% of just the number of complexity around creating that service request and getting it from one end to the other. So all those elements really create a better environment for our staff, which in turn creates a better environment and experience for our residents too.
Thank you, Gary. Karthik.
Yeah, being head of technology means that, I should be a champion for it, but it doesn't solve everything. And I think it's true. We've seen it time and time again that our frontline staff need to know how to use the technology, need to collaborate on that and share that experience. So that's one thing the town of Newmarket is very proud of, is that, we have an award-winning customer service department that actually shares its knowledge and shares the experience, not only amongst other customer service departments with our neighboring municipalities within the region, but we also have programs for all employees.
And to conclude on a fun note, I would love for each of you to share any pilots or recently launched programs that are really making a difference for citizens. Gary, why don't I start off with the City of Toronto?
Sure. I welcome anyone, if you have the time, just to Google 301 Toronto or look at our mobile app and try it out. It's actually a world-class app. It's actually won awards as well across the world in regards to the implementation. It's extremely user-friendly and intuitive. It deals with over 600 categories of service requests. You can attach pictures. If you're walking, hopefully not driving down the street and see a pothole, you want to attach that to your service request. It's there. I simply ask you to try it out and provide some feedback, because our theme in terms of the customer experience journey within the City of Toronto is moving from good to great.
CLO, what about the City of Mississauga?
Very similar to Gary York, I would like to advertise the City of Mississauga. You can visit the mississauga.ca and you would see it has been launched for a while now, but how intuitive the use of that online service requisition and just the website in its own. You will, and if you want to visit again the recent service that we've had for our dear Hazel McCallion and stream the service, it's there. It's very seamless. It's very easy.
Becky and Karthik, any last words on this one? Any last comments?
I think for me, it's just we're really excited. We've partnered with the region of Durham on our CRM, which started with their My Durham 311, and we've launched our first phase of our MyScugogConnected.ca, which is built within the region's main CRM, and their CRM is going live in March. So I encourage everybody to continue to follow how this partnership works out, and to check out our portal as well as the region citizen portal in March once it goes live. So thank you.
And from the town of Newmarket, we all know that citizens' interactions begin with councils, and the council meetings for us have been very successful because we've taken on a hybrid approach where citizens are now able to put in deputations through an online service, and it's really seen uptick in interaction and engagement at a council level. So that's something we're very excited about.
I would like to take a moment to not only thank the panel for joining us today, but also for all the work they do to improve the daily lives of citizens. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say we look forward to seeing what is next. Thank you.